Hey YouTube, thanks for joining me today. I want to help you troubleshoot a couple of situations on a Mercedes. One of them, when you come into the car, you put the keys in, the keys wouldn't turn the car and wouldn't start the car, wouldn't crank the starter and wouldn't start the engine. The second situation is when the starter turns but the car still doesn't crank up, doesn't start. We're going to go through a couple of things that you can test yourself, check yourself before you take it to a repair shop. So I want you to stay tuned. I'll show you how you can troubleshoot and what might cause the problem, what might cause the reason for the car not to start. In that case here, for that tutorial, for this video, we have S63, 2010 S63. But it's the same on every other Mercedes. All of them have the same principle. They have the ignition switch, the key, the battery, the starter, and then of course the engine and everything that communicate all of them together, which on Mercedes is called SAM, which is a signal, stands for signal acquisition module. And of course all the computers that communicating through the central gateway, through the controlled area network to talk to each other and get the car to start. So stay tuned for this video and we'll go through all the situations that you have, all the tests you can do to see why your car is not starting. So you wake up in the morning and you walk to your car and you got your keys in your hand and you try to open the car, and there's going to be two situations. One, you're going to see the key works and open and turn up the lights. You see like this one here. Open the doors and you can get into your car. Second situation, you'll push that and the key doesn't do nothing. In that case, obviously you can see that it works, but let's assume that you push the unlock and the key is not responding. So if you push the unlock and the key is not responding, you shrink down the options into two. You either have a bad key or you have a dead battery, one of the two. But if you did open the key, you didn't open the door, and you go into your car, let's walk into the car. You walk into the car, and let me take the push to start button out. Stay with me for a second. Okay, so you got into your car, you got the keys, the door open, the lights illuminate on the dash. It means that your battery might be okay. It doesn't mean that your battery is okay. It means that your battery might be okay. Obviously, to start a car, you need more than 11.2 volts, and you need more than a certain amount of cranking power on the battery, because you might still have a 12 volts on the battery, but you don't have enough cranking power. That's a situation that we're going to talk about in a few moments when I test the battery and check if it's working. But let's say that under the assumption that so far your battery is okay, you were able to open the door, the locks are working, and you're getting into your car. Now on some models, when you're going to put the key in the ignition, there is a situation where the key is not even going to turn. So you put the keys inside and you try to turn it, but it doesn't turn. Some models, that's on C classes and some of the Coupe E classes, there is something that Mercedes calls a steering lock. Steering lock is on many different cars. On Mercedes itself, it's a part of the drive authorization. So if the steering lock got jammed or stopped functioning right, you wouldn't hear the little drafting noise when you put the key in. There is some kind of a noise that sounds like zip, something like that. I'm not the best with noises, but but if you put the key in and you don't hear this retraction noise on certain models, again, it's not on this specific one, on the S class and on E classes, in CLSs, you won't have that noise. You'll have that noise on the C classes, and you'll have that noise on some Coupe E classes, and maybe I'm missing another car or two that might have this retraction on the steering lock. But when you put the key in, if you couldn't turn it and you have a C class, it means that you may have a problem with your steering lock. If you do have a problem with the steering lock, there is a possibility that you might be able to release it. Sometimes the steering wheel itself will get jammed in a certain situation. Like if you got into a parking or something like that and you were turning the wheel all the way to the left and you got the key very fast out, there is a possibility that the steering lock itself got jammed. Try to play a little bit with the steering wheel while you're putting the key in and see if it releases the steering lock. If it doesn't, then obviously in that case you may have to take your car to a repair shop. But let's say that in that specific case, in the C-Class, you don't have the steering lock, and when you put the key in, it will turn. You can put any key, as a matter of fact, and it will still turn. Any Mercedes key, it will still turn. It may tell you on the dash that you have the wrong key, but it's still gonna turn. So you put the key in and you turn and you try to crank it, but it wouldn't start. You wouldn't even hear the starter. In that case, we're gonna move to step number 2. What are the things that you check? So obviously, even if you have illumination on the dashboard, it doesn't mean that your battery is okay. So the first thing I want you to do if the car didn't start is I want you to check your battery. I've heard so many people say, oh, I got a good battery, I just replaced it 2 months ago, I know the battery is good. And they'll tow the car over here, and the first thing we're going to do is check the battery, and the battery fails. So it doesn't matter if you only have 12 volts, and I'll show you in a second the tool that I'm using. I have the old-fashioned tool that I put a load on, and it tells me if the battery is good or not. I've had more sophisticated tools. They never really gave me the results I was looking for. But the old-fashioned cheap tool that everybody can have, that you can buy at Harbor Freight or many other shops very, very cheap, will tell you what's the condition of your battery. So in that case, obviously this car is working. I'm not going to start it right now, but this car will start if I turn the key. But let's say, and one other things I want to touch real quick, because I have a lot of customers that when I tell them position number 1, position number 2, they're not sure what I'm talking about. So you have actually 4 positions with the key in the ignition. You have when you insert the key into ignition. Then you have position number 1 when you turn it only one time and you feel that it's locked on the first turn. Then you have position number 2 when you turn it the second time. And then you have the fourth action, or I don't know what's going to be the word, but the fourth position of the key is when you actually turn it and start the car. So there are 4 different positions for the car, where position number 1 is here, position number 2 is here. It's not necessarily here position number 1. It's after you turn it one time. It's position number 1, this is position number 2, and then you crank the car. So 4 different places that the key can be in. Okay, so let's go out. It didn't work. You got to check the battery. Let's go out and check the battery first. Okay, so in that case, the S-Class, this specific S-Class, the battery is over here on the front, right by the engine compartment. There are several different S-Classes. This is the 221 chassis, but the 221 from 2009, Mercedes moved to 1 battery on the front. If you go backward on the 221 chassis, you'll have a starter battery here, you'll have another battery in the trunk. C-Classes have their battery also here. E-Classes got the batteries actually in the trunk on E-Classes. The older E-Classes, the 210 chassis, the batteries will be under the passenger rear seat. And there are various different places where the battery is located. If you don't know where your battery is, look at your owner manual. It will tell you where the battery is located. If not, you can give me a call and I'll tell you where your battery is located. But regardless of that, this is the tool that I'm using, a very cheap tool. It cost me, I think, maybe 20-30 bucks. But it will tell me if the battery is good or not good. And that's all I need. I had the $1,000 and $1,500 and $2,000 tools that didn't do the job as good as this one. What I do if the car doesn't start when the car comes to the shop, first of all, the first thing that I do before anything else is I check the battery. I check, of course, if the connections on the batteries are good. I wobble them a little bit, make sure that they're tight. I'm looking at the battery too to make sure that there is no build of corrosion. A lot of time when there is corrosion built around the ground or the +2, it can indicate for bigger, more serious problems that might be on the car. It can indicate that there is loose connections. It can indicate that the battery is old and the alternator is working too hard to charge it, or many other things. And I'm going to have another video. By the way, if you didn't subscribe to my channel already, subscribe to my channel. I give a lot of information. I don't always tell you how to fix stuff, but I tell you what is the reason you should fix it or take care of it. And I don't always show you how to do the things, because I believe that the professional technician should work on your car rather than yourself, if this is not what you do on a daily basis. And I know it's kind of like can piss off a lot of people, because they can think like, oh, I can do it, it's not very complicated. But doing it for a long time, I can tell you that sometimes it's way more complicated than you think. But back to the battery. the car doesn't start, the first thing that we do at the shop is we check the battery. We look at the battery and we test it. So you got to make sure that you identified your ground and identified your plus on the battery before you connect anything to the battery. So we will usually, of course, you can see, as you can see here, it will show you that the plus is on the right side, the ground is on the left side. Beside that, you will have marks on the wires themselves, and beside that, the ground will always connect to the body of the car, while the plus is connected to all the computers and components throughout different fuse boxes, relay boxes, signal acquisition modules, and stuff of that nature. But before I connect any connection, any tester or anything to a battery, I check at least 3 times to make sure that I'm not mixing them, because in different models, the batteries may position at a different position, and it might confuse you as where the plus is and where the ground is. But after we figure out where the ground and where the plus is connected, what we're going to do is we're going to connect, and always remember, you connect the plus first, and you connect the ground second, and when you disconnect the ground first, and then you disconnect the plus. And the reason you do that is because if you disconnect the plus and by mistake you touch the body of the car or something like that while you disconnected it, you can cause computers to burn, you can cause sparks, fire, or many other things. So we connect the plus first to the plus, we connect the ground second to the ground, and automatically we're going to get the reading. Now, it's not enough for me that I get a reading of 12 volts on the voltmeter. I also want to see what happened under a load. So you may have a good 12 volts battery, but when you put the load on that, it might drop all the way to 6 or 5. If you have anything less than 11.2, your car is not going to start. So it may even sound that it's going to start, but the battery is not going to be strong enough to push the engine, to start the engine. So what I'm going to do is, after that, I'm going to have this button here, and I'm going to push and give it a real quick load. Now, I don't want to take too much stress, put too much stress on the battery, so I'm just going to push it real quick, and I'm going to see how far the dial goes. If the dial goes to the yellow area, it means the battery is not good. So you can see right here, that's as much load as I put. I'll put a couple of times. This battery is pretty decent. It's a good battery. After I'm done with the test, I'll disconnect, as I said, I'll disconnect the ground first and put it back in its place. Now I'm working with one hand, so I'm gonna try and do that, and then disconnect the plus, take the tool out. In that case, I know the battery is good, so if the car still didn't start when I know that the battery is good, I know that I'm going to step number 3. So bear with me while we're going to step number 3. Okay, step number 3. In that case, this car got what we call an ISM. ISM stands for Intelligent Servo Module. The car automatically, when you turn off the car, will move the transmission into a park. Some cars don't have the Intelligent Servo Module, some models. They have a stick shift over here that you can actually move from drive to park. Now, the car is equipped with the safety feature that if the car is in neutral or in drive, you won't be able to start the car, because think what would happen if you're in drive and you start the car and the car all of a sudden takes off and drives. So they call it the neutral safety switch, but something of that nature. So if you have a car, your shifter over here, and you don't have the Intelligent Servo Module, you have to make sure that your car is in park. Now, if you try to start it and it wouldn't start, you got to double check, make sure that your shifter is in park. If your shifter is not in park, the car wouldn't start. The car will start in neutral though. So let's say that your car is in park and doesn't start. Move the shifter in an older models. Move the shifter to neutral. Try to start again. Sometimes that will change it and trigger it to start. So obviously you have to make sure that your car is in park to start. Otherwise your car is not going to start. So in that case here on the S-Class, you can see right here that the car is in park. The car will start in neutral too, but it won't start in reverse or drive, because then automatically the car is going to start driving, and we don't want that to happen. So the number 3 is make sure that you are in park. Now we're moving to troubleshooting number 4. Now, number 4, it's still to the every do-it-yourselfer or the operator, the driver. From step number 5 and on, it goes more to the technician. So by step number 4, if you still couldn't start your car, you have a more serious problem, take it to a repair shop. They'll be able to take it from there. Stay with me to step number 4. Okay, step number 4, we're going back to the front of the car. Most cars, most Mercedes have their starter fuse and starter relay on the left signal acquisition module, which is basically your intelligent fuse box. In that case here, I marked already the starter relay, which is this one here. So I'm not expecting you to check if your relay is good or not good. Just make sure you find out when you go to a dealer or when you go to a repair shop, find out what kind of a relay you have for your starter, and always keep with you another one. That can save you a lot of headache and the cost of towing and the cost of diagnostics at the shop. Make sure you got one relay that is the starter relay with you in the glove compartment, and a fuse for the starter, which usually it's about, I think it's 10 to 15 amps, depends on the model. But if you keep your fuse and you keep a relay with you, and you can look at your diagram, at the fuse diagram, and you can see by your fuse diagram, like something like that you should have in your in one of the depends where it is. Look at your owner manual, where is your fuse diagram, but it will tell you which one is your starting relay and which one is your starting fuse. So keep with you another relay and keep with you a fuse that you can actually look, and you're going to go to the designation of every fuse and it will tell you which one is the starting fuse. Check your fuse. What you're going to go is you're going to go and get your fuse out and basically inspect it, or you know what, in your case, just replace it. Don't even inspect it. Replace the fuse, replace the relay, go back to your car and try to start it. If it still doesn't start, then as I said, you may have a bigger problem that won't be able to troubleshoot and fix on the side of the road or outside your house in the morning. In that case, you may have to tow it to a repair shop. I'm going to give you real quick output on what else might be going wrong with your car. And again, this is more for somebody who is mechanically inclined and know what he's doing on the car. Don't do it yourself if you don't have some kind of mechanical background. Okay, so we talked about the battery, we talked about no communication with the starter, we talked about the ISM or the neutral safety switch, position of the gear itself. Obviously, of course, your starter can be bad. It's not very unlikely. The starter can be bad, and of course, one more thing that can be bad, it's your key. Your key might be bad. The fact that it opens the door doesn't mean that it's going to start the car. There is two different transmitters in the key, the radio and the infrared, and there is a little chip that the switch will recognize when you put the key inside. So even if you open the doors, doesn't mean the car going to still start. And then of course there are things that can be much worse than that, like either you have seized the engine. Did you overheat your engine? If you seize the engine, it's going to sound like the key, you put the key in, everything seems okay, but the engine is not going to turn because the engine is blocking the starter. So the engine is holding the starter from start. So of course it can be a bad engine, can be many other things that will make the car not start. Also the driver authorization, a part on Mercedes, a part of the key itself. That's why, by the way, the keys are so expensive, because the key is not only a key, it's a part of closing a circuit with the whole driver authorization of the car. So if you're going to take a key from a different car and it's not authorizing the car to start, the car is not going to start. So of course you got to make sure that if you got more than one Mercedes in your shop, in your house, you got to make sure, of course, that you chose the right key for the right car, because if you put the wrong key, the car is not going to start. So obviously it can be a key too. Let me see if there is anything else that might have an issue that might stop you from starting the car, that I can help you with troubleshooting. Give me a second, I'll join you back in a second. Okay, so I think I covered 90% of the reasons why your car is not going to start if you come in the morning and the car is not starting. Of course, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to check your battery. If you think I missed anything, write me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to respond to your comments too. You have any questions, Now, all that video was only about why the car wouldn't even start. The engine, the starter wouldn't even turn. I'm gonna do another video probably in the next couple of days, what happens when you put the keys in and the car turns but won't start. So you're gonna have a starter, but the car still doesn't start. So that's gonna be the second tutorial of troubleshooting why my car is not starting. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can get all the ins and outs about Mercedes as soon as I get them out. If you have any comments or any questions, of course, you're always welcome either to call our shop or to write us an email, and we'll respond as soon as we possibly can. Besides that, thanks for watching the video, and join us for next videos.